We have a new severe thunderstorm warning. I want you to pay attention because when you see this, it says destructive as part of that tag right there. This is for parts of Johnson County, also through parts of Hill County, stretching a little bit through parts of Somervell County. The reason is coming from the National Weather Service, the concern, baseball-sized hail with this storm. If you live in Cleveland, if you live in parts of Johnson County, if you live in the Keene area, get away from your windows. Make sure that you are inside. This is moving east at 40 miles per hour. So with that in mind, Cleveland 449, Keene about 459. You can see Oak Hill at 450, Sand Flat at 457, Antioch 5 minutes after 5. So this is the newest severe thunderstorm warning. This is the one that I was mentioning in parts of Hood County that was going to be moving its way into parts of Johnson County. I wouldn't be surprised to see if we had a severe thunderstorm warning issue with that. Now it's going to continue to flash because it's elevated a bit in our concern. So we're able to look at some of the hail. And Brittany, let's look at the hail track if we can first, just to be able to show you where the hail is continuing to make its way out of parts of Hood County, continue to push its way there. And you notice that it's been making its way off to the east and the east, almost southeast for us, where that large hail is moving its way in. So the west side's there now of Johnson County, a little bit more of concern. Now let's go back to that VIL density if we can, which means we look at what's called the vertical integrated liquid. It's a way for us to look at the hail size or potential hail size. Our product showing hail up to the size maybe of an egg to a golf ball, at least for right now. We'll get some of the latest scans that are coming in as this is moving its way to the east. So we're zooming our way down just a little bit more to give you some streets so you're able to get your bearings. And I know maybe some of the trend is or to look outside, say, hey, is it coming? Just stay away from the windows because especially those west facing windows as this storm is moving in. Here's Fort Spunky. There is Ravenswood Road. Here's Bono. So if you live in Bono, please go ahead and get away from those windows. Here's North County Road 1226, County Road 1124. So this is the hail that we're seeing right now. Let's switch back on over, we can, to reflectivity as we're looking at the storm moving its way through. And I'm noticing that possibly, Brittany, it looks like maybe some of the larger hail, or at least the hail core right now, is in the east and southeast sides of Hood County. And you've been tracking the storms through the day today, and very large hail has been one of the biggest concerns as we've gone through this afternoon.
It really has. That we've seen some golf ball size hail. We've even had reports of tennis ball size hail. And where we started to see those severe thunderstorms develop earlier today, that was around Young, Jack, and Wise counties. But those storms are now tracking up along the Red River. And you can see with these storms where we're getting the blacks headed over towards Bonham and then even into Lamar and Delta County. That's where we're still seeing some of that very large hail with these storms. Winds up to about 60 miles an hour. But really, a lot of the storm reports that we have had throughout the day today, it's indicating the hail with these really strong thunderstorms. So around Bowie, we had some of that hail over an inch, and then just picking a couple of these here, about quarter size hail throughout the area, and then into southern Lamar County, about the size of quarters. But around Bowie, we also had some of those reports up to the size of tennis balls. So that's really been the trend throughout the day today, is for the very large damaging hail threat. And Scott, we haven't seen too many where it's been the destructive severe thunderstorm warnings. We did have one cell a little bit earlier today, but this is really the one that we're keeping a close eye on. Yeah, and that's the first one through the day today that we've seen that destructive tag. We do have one of our storm chasers as well, Mike Prendergrass, who is in parts of Somervell County. And at some point, control him if you want to pull his shot up. He's driving right now through a lot of rain. He's also saying that he does have some hail with that moving his way through. So there's Mike right there. So there's Mike's shot. There's Jason McLaughlin. So Mike is here in the northeast sides there of Somervell County. The largest hail looks like it's towards his north and east, but this storm is moving very fast, possibly at 40 miles per hour. So you're not going to have a lot of lead time until this moves its way into your neighborhood. So there's not any rotation at all with us as far as a tornado is concerned, but you can see and hear Mike's audio there. A lot of heavy rain as Mike is driving through parts of Somervell County. Definitely the lights on. I don't really see any hail yet, but Mike is making sure that he's getting in the proper position. So not the largest hail, but the threat, of course, has been
maybe hail up to the size of a baseball, indicating very strong updrafts. So we put a track here for you on that hail core as it's moving its way to the east at 40 miles per hour. So right now, the severe thunderstorm warnings for Johnson County, parts of Hill County as well. But I want to show you Lebanon about 4:50. It's 4:43 right now. Sand Flat about 3 minutes after 5. Griffith about 5:22. Mountain Peak about 5:29. So Mike was saying that he did. I'll just get this text right here that came through. Took a little bit of the core, had a few big hailstones in there. He's continuing on the one near Stephenville, so he's continuing to reposition himself as well. But he had a couple of the bigger hailstones, but the storm's moving so fast that he's now out of that area of some of the largest hail. However, you're not out of the area of larger hail if you live in Cleburne, if you live in Keene, even in the Joshua area, as this storm is moving its way very fast to the east. If you do live in the Somervell County area, that northwest side or northeast sides there of Somervell County, still possibly some larger hail that is for you. I do want to point out, so if you have maybe friends that normally commute along 35, let them know just to kind of hang out. Take that break, because this storm is going to quickly make its way to the east. Let's see if we can work on that time of arrival product, Brittany, as this is going to be moving its way east at 40. And as we work on that, I can definitely show you that we have some of that heaviest rain right now moving its way into the northwest sides there of Johnson County, and even in the southeast sides there of Hood County. So about 4:56 making its way to Cleburne. Let's go all the way to 35, like what time it's going to get to 35 as this is moving east at 40 miles per hour. So we'll put this track here for you, approximate time of arrival. So about 5:15, which is about half hour from now, your normal commute time. So that's a time that a lot of people are on the roads, and you don't want to be driving through a storm that has the potential of maybe hail up to the size of a baseball. So that warning is continuing there for parts of Johnson County. I'm just going to go ahead and move my computer on here as well. Erath County, they are continuing that severe thunderstorm warning. Tennis ball size hail with that one, Brittany. And now the latest update, possible winds of 60 miles per hour. This one's now moving southeast at 35. So let's go to move the radar up if we can. So you're going to be able to see the Erath County storm. And this one here is Stephenville. So Mike's repositioning for that storm. This is moving east-southeast at about 35 miles per hour. So with that, we'll put this track here for you. So two storms that have maybe some monster-size hail, tennis ball size to baseball size. It's going to be in Selden about 4:47, Iredell about 5:20, Meridian 5:43. So let's go ahead and zoom down to where we have the hail core right now, which is south of Stephenville. And as we zoom our way in a little bit more, you're able to see it's south of Stephenville. We'll see some of the streets pop up here for you. Here's County Road 253, where it meets FM 914. So possibly some of the largest hail right in that area. Here's the latest scan that just came through. So you notice how the hail core still around County Road 246 and 247. So this is continuing to slide its way very fast down to the southeast at about 35 miles per hour. So both our storm chasers are trying to head down to the Meridian area. If you guys can hear me right now, good idea to go ahead and do so. Go ahead and reposition yourself. Some of these storms are going to be hard to get in front of, but the reason we have our storm chasers out there is to give you some of the ground truth of what we're seeing here on our radar. Let's go to widen out that view if we can again, Brittany, because a couple of storms that we're watching, the severe weather, but let's get that wide view across North Texas. If you're here in parts of the Metroplex, there's not a whole lot happening for you, and the boundaries kind of worked its way on through, so we may be in the clear as we go through the evening hours. I'm still keeping my eyes on it because we have some activity that has developed well north of the boundary. Just want to we're getting an update here from the National Weather Service. So let me see this real fast. What is coming in? Let me zoom down here a little bit. Johnson County, possibly some rotation in the southwest sides of that. So here's that view across parts of North Texas. Delta County, also just want to point out you have a stronger storm near you as well, southeast of Paris. That's moving east. Brady, let's go back down to Johnson County. So as we go back down to Johnson County, we are looking at this, possibly some rotation tightening up. So we're switching over our product here for the storm winds right in this area. That is a little bit more of a concern. So We don't really have a tight couplet, which means the reds and the green right next to each other. But let's go ahead and move this up a little bit, get it out of the way of that box. Thanks there, Brittany. And this is the area that we're kind of watching as far as that rotation is possibly concerned. Here's Hilltop Drive. There's Park Road 21. Again, here is the Burton area. So let's get a distance from Burton out to the west of that. See how far away that is. That's about the distance to Tool. One that looks like a ruler. That one we'll be able to see from Burton. There we go. So about 6.3 miles to the west of Burton, at least a rotation that is showing up. We do not have a tornado warning with this, but it's something we'll continue to watch. And if we hit the shear button, we'll be able to see that's another product here from the First Alert Weather Center right there. So that's lining up really well with our velocity product. So some moderate shear showing up now in the southwest sides there of Johnson County. So the rotation is possible as it's kind of meeting the boundary that's moving through. So that is concerned. If you live in Lone Willow, if you live in Burton, go ahead and hopefully you're already away from your windows. You're kind of on that lowest level of your house, enacting your safety plan, because not only are you dealing with the potential of a storm that has baseball-sized hail, but also dealing with maybe some stronger winds that are moving their way through. So Jason and Mike are both kind of repositioning themselves well. That's why we're going to continue to make sure that they're in the safest spot. Let's go to widen out that view if we can just a bit more, Brittany, just to look at the storm that mostly has made its way out of Hood County. There is Jason and Mike pretty much in the Glen Rose area. So this storm is pushing its way pretty fast to the east at about 40 miles per hour. So a couple things that we're watching at least for right now as far as this storm is concerned. And, you know, the threat has been there as we've gone through the afternoon hours, now into the evening hours for the strong to severe storm. So I'm just going to go walk you through. Tornado watch remains in effect until 9 o'clock on the southwest side of North Texas, and then severe thunderstorm watch north sides of the Metroplex until 7, and then the east sides, the remainder of North Texas, until about 11 o'clock. So the alert is in place, and the reason that we're staying with these storms is because the potential of some very large hail, which we at least have seen showing up possibly on our radar. We haven't had any ground truth of that yet, except for parts of Grayson County where there was some baseball-sized hail. Damaging winds, isolated tornadoes cannot be ruled out, and that tornado watch, as we talked about, in effect. So where are these storms going? They're making their way to the east and to the southeast. So you notice our First Alert Futurecast high-resolution model picking up on that activity that is further to the south through parts of Ellis County, maybe into Navarro County in the next hour and a half to 2 hours. That's south of the boundary. Then as we go into the evening hours, a lot of that activity tapering off. Maybe as we go into late tonight, a couple of showers off to the north. So it's interesting setup in the atmosphere that we have a lot of moisture. This is the dew point in the low to the mid-70s, but north of that, north of the boundary, drier air is moving in. So that's why we're seeing some of that instability. Look at the temperature difference as well. It is in the low 80s to the mid to the upper 80s to the southeast, but to the northwest, Gainesville's 58 degrees. Yes, a lot of rain, cooled air. It's 59 in Bowie to 64 in Bridgeport. We're walking you through that. I want to take a look right now at DFW at 73 degrees, north winds at 22, holding together, dew point at 62 to give you the remainder of the forecast. So across North Texas and the Metroplex, look at the difference at Grand Prairie. It's 81. But in Fort Worth at 69. So we're seeing quite the difference at 62 in Decatur. So yeah, you know, it's just like, okay, we can see where the boundary definitely is moving its way through of the temperature difference. 79 still in Waxahachie to 86 in Hillsborough. So into tonight, coverage around 60 to 70% the next few hours, dropping to about 20% by 9, in the upper 50s to the low 60s tonight. Then as we do take a look into tomorrow, it's calmer for us. We're going to be seeing more sunshine peeking back out. Your First Alert 7-day forecast shows that we're going to be seeing some more rain on the way going into Sunday. Unfortunately for Mother's Day, 73 degrees, more widespread rain on the way. It's a good day to stay inside, turn off your phones, tell some stories, maybe play some cards. Going into next week, we see that activity tapering off. We're at 87 Tuesday, and then a return of maybe some more rain and storms back into the forecast by next Wednesday and Thursday. We'll take a small break, have another look at the First Alert radar coming up right after this.